In Venezuela, the stage is set for confrontation. Warships circle in the Caribbean. Militia recruits flood the streets of Caracas. And from Beijing to Washington, rival powers close in on a nation already on the brink. This is more than a standoff. It's a battle for influence in America's own backyard. Thousands of Venezuelans poured into registration centers across Caracas, signing up for the Bolivarian militia in what President Nicolás Maduro described as a necessary response to threats of a US invasion. The mobilization came just days after Washington stationed 3 warships off Venezuela's coast, describing the deployment as part of anti-drug operations. Civil servants, housewives and retirees joined police officers and reservists in long queues at squares, public buildings, military facilities and even Miraflores Palace as volunteers pledged loyalty to the homeland. Some queued at the mountain barracks, home to the mausoleum of the late socialist leader Hugo Chavez.
We are responding to the call made by the constitutional president of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, as we enroll in the Bolivarian militia to prevent any empire from setting foot on this homeland of liberators again.
We reject any threat coming from the empire. We do not agree with any of those threats that are coercing us and trying to subdue the nation. We are a sovereign, firm, and patriotic people, and we will always be free and independent.
The militia, a civilian corps created under Chavez and dubbed the Bolivarian Army, is formally tied to Venezuela's armed forces and carries a strong political identity. Chavez Lives has become its official greeting, symbolizing the movement's ideological roots. Maduro seized the moment to showcase strength, claiming more than 4.5 million citizens were prepared to defend the country. Independent estimates are far more modest. The International Institute for Strategic Studies assessed the militia at just 343,000 members in 2020. Still a significant force, but far short of the government's claims in a nation of 30 million. The display of mobilization directly counters the Trump administration, which earlier this month doubled its bounty on Maduro's capture from $25 million to $50 million. Washington accuses him of leading the Cartel de los Soles, a narcotics trafficking group designated by the US as a terrorist organization. For Caracas, the militia drive was as much about symbolism as security. By mobilizing citizens in visible numbers, Maduro sent a defiant message that Venezuela would resist outside intervention, echoing the Bolivarian legacy he inherited from Chavez. As US warships circle Venezuela's coast, Nicolás Maduro's government makes a calculated move, freeing opposition figures in a surprise gesture. 8 detainees walked free, 5 shifted to house arrest, including Americo de Gracia, a close ally of Maria Corina Machado. Observers see strategy, not concession, behind Caracas's decision. Enrique Capriles, former governor and twice a presidential candidate, confirmed the news in a message on X.
8 detainees were released in the early hours, and 5 others will serve the remainder of their terms at home.
The human rights NGO Foro Penal reported that 815 political prisoners remained in detention as of August 21st. The organization welcomed the releases, but emphasized that they represented only a fraction of those imprisoned on political grounds. The United States, meanwhile, has continued to harden its posture. Earlier this month, US Attorney General William Barr announced the doubling of Maduro's bounty. The Pentagon also confirmed that 3 guided missile destroyers, the USS Gravely, USS Jason Dunham and USS Sampson, were dispatched with some 4,000 sailors and Marines to the southern Caribbean. Officially, the operation is framed as a counter-narcotics mission. Economic pressure has also been sharpened. Washington has withheld approvals for European oil majors, including Spain's Repsol, Italy's ENI, and France's Morel and Prom, all of which sought to resume Venezuelan operations. The exceptions have been few. Last month, Chevron secured a license to pump crude in the crisis-stricken nation. Neither the US State Department nor Venezuela's Information Ministry commented immediately on the prisoner release, but the timing underscored the delicate balance Maduro is attempting, showing strength against foreign threats while offering selective concessions to mitigate international scrutiny. As warships maneuver in the Caribbean and militias train in Caracas, Venezuela's most powerful ally has stepped more openly into the fray: China. Beijing has positioned itself as Caracas's critical lifeline, politically, economically, and diplomatically, directly challenging Washington's influence in the region. China has consistently denounced US naval deployments near Venezuelan waters, framing them as provocations that destabilize the hemisphere. Officials in Beijing have called for respect for Venezuela's sovereignty, urging dialogue rather than confrontation.
China opposes any actions that violate the purposes and principles of the United Nations Charter and infringe upon the sovereignty and security of other countries. We oppose the use or threat of force in international relations and oppose external forces interfering in Venezuela's internal affairs under any pretext. We hope the United States will do more to promote peace and security in Latin America and the Caribbean.
For Caracas, Beijing's backing is more than symbolic. Chinese investment and financial assistance, often structured through loan for oil arrangements, have provided a crucial lifeline for an economy battered by hyperinflation, sanctions, and collapsing oil revenues. Maduro has openly celebrated the relationship, presenting China not only as a partner, but as a counterweight to US pressure. The alliance also feeds into Beijing's broader geopolitical calculus. By strengthening ties with Venezuela, China challenges US dominance in the Western Hemisphere, a region Washington has long regarded as its sphere of influence. The partnership demonstrates to other Latin American countries that alternatives exist to US-led models of engagement. Economically, China has cemented a surplus through its Venezuelan ties, reaping long-term strategic benefits while sustaining Caracas during its most acute crises. Politically, Beijing gains credibility as a defender of sovereignty in the global south. Strategically, it secures a foothold close to US borders at a moment of heightened rivalry. The unfolding standoff now pits multiple layers of confrontation against each other: Washington's military and economic measures, Maduro's mass mobilization of militias, and Beijing's geopolitical counterweight.